Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Zach's Credit Card Guide. This week we're going to talk about annual fees on credit cards and if they're worth it. This video is mostly aimed at beginners just starting out in this hobby, and you might be wondering, hey, there's cards with like $550 annual fees. There's no way that's worth it. Well, we're going to talk about annual fees and what's the whole point and how you can make sure you get value out of that fee. So a lot of the cards that we talk about on this channel have annual fees from like $95 up to the mid 500s and pretty much everywhere in between. Now, when I first started looking into this hobby, I thought there was no way I was ever going to have a credit card with like a $450 annual fee or sometimes even more than that. I thought that was just absolutely crazy. There's been people that I tell about this hobby and they look at some of these cards and there's like, no way that's worth it. That's obnoxious. So that's what we're going to talk about here. So first, why do banks even charge annual fees in the first place? There's a couple reasons. One is to kind of make sure people choose the right card. If every credit card on the planet had no annual fee, there'd be nothing stopping you from applying for every single card. So by putting an annual fee on a card, it makes you pause and do kind of a calculation and make sure that that card's right for you. So that's one reason, but the biggest reason is simply just to pay for the benefits and the rewards on these cards. If you look at something like the Chase Sapphire Reserve, it comes with like lounge access, 3 times points on travel and dining, and a bunch of other stuff. That costs the bank money. So one of the things that they do to make up for that and try to recoup some of their costs is charge an annual fee in the first place. Now, does that mean you have to pay annual fees on cards to get value out of this game? No, there's tons of great no annual fee cards. We've talked about a lot of them here on this channel. We're not going to go through a bunch of them. This is mostly talking about the concept of annual fees, but to get something out of this game, no, you don't have to pay annual fees. You can set up a no annual fee card system and get pretty good value out of that. But if you want even more value, if you want travel benefits and things like that, you're going to have to pay some annual fees. The trick is just to make sure that you're going to get value back and pick the right cards. So the first thing when looking at what card might be right for you, is this annual fee worth it, is to just look at the card, look at the benefits, and see if it's something you'll use. Just kind of a basic oft-used example is the Chase Sapphire Reserve. So right now the annual fee on that card's $550. Now, we look at the calculation and see if you're going to get value back. So first, you get a $300 travel credit that right now can be used for dining as well. So pretty much everybody's going to get that $300 back. So now you're only at $250 into the card. What else do you get for it? Well, year one, you'll get a TSA pre-check or global entry credit. That's worth up to $100. So in your first year, now you're only into it $150. Right now, this year, there's $60 in DoorDash. It doesn't look like that'll be a permanent benefit, but right now, you get another $60 back. Now you're only into the card $90. What else do we get? You get primary rental car coverage, which is good if you are going to go on a trip and rent a car. You also get lounge access through Priority Pass. And then, of course, 3 times points on travel and dining. So your first year, you're only into the card about $90. You're getting lounge access, and don't write off that intro bonus. That is what makes pretty much every card on the planet a no-brainer, at least in year one, because you're getting a bonus that most of the time is worth more than that annual fee. There's probably some exceptions out there somewhere, but pretty much every card that I can think of here on the fly, your annual fee is less than you're getting in that intro bonus. So pretty much every card, even if it's like a $550 card, that bonus that you're getting, those points, the value that you're getting there is worth usually substantially more than that annual fee. So pretty much every card makes sense year one. If you look at just the bonus, if you're already in the green and then you add on some of those other ongoing benefits, then pretty much every card's a no-brainer. It's when you get to like year 2, 3, and beyond that you kind of have to look at the ongoing permanent benefits of the card and see if there's any value to you there. If not, if you think, hey, yeah, this card's a no-brainer, I gotta pay $500 for an annual fee, but the bonus is giving me 800 in points, plus all this other stuff, yeah, that's a no-brainer in year one, but what do I wanna do in year 2? You could either cancel the card, which if you do that a lot can kind of wreak havoc on your credit report, so I wouldn't really recommend doing that. In year 2, if there is a downgrade path, and this might go off into a bit of a tangent, we've talked about this before, but the short version is a lot of credit card families within banks, they usually have a version of the card. It's a different card, but they usually have something on kind of that ladder that's a no annual fee. For instance, like the Chase Sapphire Reserve, you can downgrade that card into either a Sapphire Preferred for $95 or into one of the Freedom cards for no annual fee. You just call them up and you say, hey, I don't really want the card anymore, the Sapphire Reserve, but hey, I might use a Freedom Unlimited. Can you just change it into that one? They can do that, no problem. Now it's a no annual fee card. You keep the card history alive, the same number, the same everything. It's just not that expensive card anymore. So when you are looking at an expensive card and you think, yeah, it's great, it's a no-brainer in year 1, but year 2, I don't know. I don't really like lounges at airports. I'm not going to use some of these benefits. Look if it has a downgrade path within that same family of cards. So as far as, is the card worth it? Is that annual fee worth it? It's really just a personal decision. It's not something I can tell you here in a video for your situation and every single card out there. What I can tell you is just my thought process. When I'm looking at a card, it's got X annual fee. I just look at the benefits. Is it going to give me ongoing value? I've held the Chase Sapphire Reserve for like 4 or 5 years now. It's got a hefty annual fee, but I get so much back out of it. Like I said, right away, that travel credit takes $300 off of it. So I'm usually only into it between $150 and $250, depending on what they're doing with the annual fee. They've done some stuff here recently with the pandemic. If you're watching this in the future, that is why I'm talking about it. They are trying to raise it to $550, but they've been giving people credits due to the COVID-19 drama. But in the future, I imagine they will stick with that $550. So you get $300 back with that travel credit. Now you're only into it $250. I'm just going to use the future numbers here. You'll just have to decide, hey, lounge access, that's pretty cool. Rental car coverage, that's primary, which means it doesn't touch your personal car insurance. That's worth something if you rent cars on trips. And then it's got like travel insurance for if your flight's delayed. It's got all these other benefits that you just have to make a personal decision. Are those worth it to me? What value do I assign to those? And that's where you kind of have to do a gut check and decide if the card's worth it. Now, there are some other ones that are just an absolute no-brainer, at least I think so. Like a lot of hotel cards. Pretty much every hotel card that has an annual fee will give you an annual free night within their hotel system. Now, typically it is capped at like a certain point threshold. They're not going to give you like their top of the line night for free every single year, but usually it's like a mid-grade, respectable hotel room. Pretty much all of the annual fee paying hotel cards will do that for you. So almost every hotel card with an annual fee is worth keeping, especially if you're in this to travel. If you're team cash back, you'll have to look at those cards and see what your value is. But this channel mostly focuses on travel. So I hold several hotel credit cards that have annual fees around $100. And pretty much all of them, the annual free night that I'm getting most of the time is going to be worth at least $100. If I'm traveling to like a major city, you think about it, what kind of hotel can you get for $100 a night? You might get something kind of mid-range, maybe a little bit lower, right? Take for instance the Hyatt card. It's got a $95 annual fee. I plan on keeping it for a while. Most Hyatts that you stay at are going to be at least $95. So worst case, you break even. And the thing with hotel cards is if you know you're going to use a hotel night at some point during the year, if you're going on even one trip, you need one night, that annual fee is probably worth it because you're gonna stay in that hotel anyway, is kind of the point. And a lot of these hotel cards, they have varying levels, of course, but a lot of times they give you some sort of status. You can look at something like the Hilton Aspire that gives you diamond status. They're top of the line. You can park inside the door if you want. Not really, but you can park like right outside the door. Gives you all of the like VIP treatment. It's got a little bit of higher annual fee, but you get a lot of cool benefits for it. So that's really the point of annual fees. If you're just getting started in this game, don't just write off cards and say, no, I'm not paying a $400 annual fee. That's nuts. There is some logic to it. Now you have to make sure that you can get value back. Don't pay a high annual fee just to have a premium flashy card if you're not going to use the benefits on it. For instance, like the Hilton Aspire, I might pick it up someday, but for me right now, personally, it doesn't make a lot of sense, so I'm not gonna pick it up. I'll put it on the back burner, maybe look at it later, but for my situation right now, it just doesn't make sense to have. Now for somebody, it might be an absolute no-brainer. It is a solid card, it's just not right for me right now. So that's the point, is don't just write off cards with annual fees. Do kind of sit down and look at the benefits that you get. A lot of times it is gonna be worth it. You'll just have to decide what benefits you value, what value you assign to them, and you'll just have to do, like I said, a gut check and see if it sounds like it might be worth it. Now, something else to consider is depending on what benefit you're looking for specifically, you might be able to get it somewhere else for cheaper. One example is like the Sapphire Reserve. Now say some benefit of the Sapphire Reserve is attractive to you, like lounge access. It's a pretty cool benefit, it's one that I like, and a really big reason why I keep my Sapphire Reserve. Now that card comes with Priority Pass with unlimited visits for you and up to 2 guests. and you don't have to pay anything for them, which is pretty cool. Now, that's great if you're a frequent traveler and you might have a couple people with you, but what if it's just you? Maybe like you, your significant other, maybe even one kid, right? Maybe you're a small group, you travel like once a year, maybe twice. Maybe you don't need something like the Sapphire Reserve. If you just really want lounge access, look at something like the Hilton Surpass card from Amex. That one comes with 10 free visits per year for a $95 annual fee. Now that particular hotel card, even though it has an annual fee, you don't get an annual free night just for having the card. You do have to spend $15,000 in a year, but maybe that just becomes your card. Maybe you don't want to get into this where you're using different cards everywhere. Maybe you just want to get that card, just keep it easy, use that single one. You might spend $15,000 in a year on it, and there's your annual free night. You've already made up for your annual fee if you get that annual free night, plus you get some priority pass benefits, and you're racking up a ton of Hilton points. If you really like Hilton, you want to keep it simple with one card, get some travel benefits for the once or twice a year you do go out. There you go, that's the way to go. So look around. If there is a certain benefit that you're really after, then look around. You might not have to pay $550 per year to get it. Maybe you can get it slightly watered down on a different card and pay a lower annual fee. So the bottom line is, are annual fees worth it? It's not a yes or no. It is a maybe, but like I said, when I first started out in this hobby, I was a hard no. Not no way, not no how, never gonna sign up for a credit card with $400 annual fees, not gonna happen. Then I started to sit down and really look at this, be a little bit more analytical, and make a cost-benefit analysis for you and your situation on a per card basis. So that's the bottom line, is you really need to sit down and decide it for yourself. So that's the topic this week, guys. What I wanna know from you is, what's your highest annual fee credit card? Let everybody know down in the comments, what card do you have that costs the most, but what do you get out of it and why do you keep it? Let everybody know down in the comments. I'd really like to hear from you guys. But if you have any other comments or questions, please do leave them down below. I try to get to every single one. If you are just starting to get into this hobby and you want some one-on-one help on thinking through this stuff and are annual fees worth it, my social media links are down there. You can reach out to me through my Facebook page. I'm happy to chat with you guys. I like nerding out about this stuff, so if you want to talk credit cards, if you have questions or anything, feel free to reach out to me down below. I'd be happy to chat with you guys about it. But if you are interested in this topic, and you like hearing about credit card travel, points, and this whole hobby, please make sure to leave the video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Pretty easy and free ways to help support the channel. That's all I've got for you this time, guys. See you at the next one. Hey, thanks for watching. Make sure to drop a comment down below and give the video a thumbs up. Here's some other videos that I think you'll really like. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos, and I'm on Facebook and Twitter as well. See you at the next one.